And we are back here on KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. And, of course, it is Thursday, and it is 7:35 a.m., and that means one thing. Time for the Car Pro. Jerry Reynolds, how are you this morning?
Buddy, I am doing good. How are you fellas?
Doing well.
We're doing pretty well. I'm just sitting here looking at this picture of this of your drive, of your ride this week. And it looks like it's a Mercedes, but it's funny looking for a Mercedes.
I've had such a mixed reaction from people on my Facebook page and also people that, I run into while I'm driving these cars all week long. And it's one of those, gosh, that's pretty, or wow, that's ugly. And it's kind of about split. I mean, it's about 50-50. People like it or they don't like it. It's unusual. When it pulled up Monday and I walked outside to sign for it, and I always walk around to make sure there's no damage or anything. And I'm just like, I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if this is a sedan or if it's a hatchback or if it's an SUV. Car I've never had before. It's the 2019 GLC 63 AMG. AMG is the performance division of Mercedes. It's been around for decades. They do a great job with engines, and that's really the selling point of this particular SUV, which, by the way, Mercedes calls a coupe. And they're the only car company I've ever seen that called something with four doors a coupe, but that's its official name. 503 horses under the handcrafted engine. These engines are hand-built. If you look, the technician that built the engine actually signs it, where you can see it, when you pop the hood. But
is it a V8?
Yeah, it's a V8, 4-liter, 2 turbos, 503 horses. This thing is lightning fast, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, and it doesn't stop there like a lot of cars do. I checked it all the way to 100. And it did 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds, which is that puts it in the same class as a Corvette ZR1 as far as speed, and it's very comfortable. It's got a beautiful interior. It's black with the middle of the seats are white quilted leather, and it sounds a little funny, I know, but when you see it, it really is kind of stunning. It's got a decent amount of cargo room. Rides and drives like a dream. It's all-wheel drive. All the AMG products are. And of course, it's just slightly over $100,000.
Wow!
But man, if you're into speed, this thing is pretty doggone amazing. It's got a launch mode. I tried it yesterday when I was filming with it, and you put it in race mode, and then floorboard it with your foot on the brake, and the car will tell you when to let the brake off. And when you do, it just pins you to the seat. And that's where that all-wheel drive comes in, because usually from a takeoff you get, you're going to burn some rubber. And this one didn't even scratch a tire. It just dug in and went. Super fast, fun to drive, not a vehicle for everybody, obviously. Price-wise and room-wise, $100,000 for a 5-passenger SUV is a lot of money these days. Even as high as SUVs have gotten. But if you're into performance, I kind of figure it's like one of these cars where the wife wants an SUV, but the husband's got a heavy foot. This is a really good combination for both those people. They could both enjoy this car.
Yeah, so I did notice that you have the 2019 McLaren 720S review up on your carprousa.com.
I do.
Were you sad to give that one up?
Yeah, except that car is so hard to get in and out of. It was almost a relief to give it up, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was a great week, I don't mind telling you. Everybody loved that car. But, to get back into an SUV, it wasn't bad. It didn't bother me, especially... Unfortunately, the way it works with the cars that I get, typically after I get something like that McLaren, they'll bring me back something like a Kia Sorento. I mean, just something that's total polar opposite. So this Mercedes sort of bridged the gap. Next week, I've got a Chevy Equinox coming up. So back to reality.
Yeah, back to, so what else do you have going on Car Pro USA?
I wrote an article that I hope people with children will take some time to read about why it's important to teach kids about cars. Just, I got to thinking today, nobody works on their own car anymore. But if you're not teaching your kids how to check their oil and look at tires and look at fluids and look at their maintenance schedule that comes with every car, what happens when check engine light comes on, what to do if they have a flat. I wrote an article on that I think is going to be helpful to people. And too many times today when a kid turns 16, the parents just hand them the keys and say, hey, be careful. And that's it. I mean, that's all the instruction that they get. And so this article kind of lays it out on what you should talk about with your kids. And I think you're setting them up for failure if you don't take the time to do that. Another article that I had in there today, the 2019 Mazda 3 is completely all new, redesigned. I think this thing's going to be a big hit. And so I've got all the information there for that. And if you have a Ram truck, 159,000 of those, the new Ram, the 2019, have been recalled already. So it's a fastener that could cause the power steering to go out, which is kind of a problem sometimes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
No, that's not ever good. So, and then another interesting article about Ford settling a lawsuit with the Mecum Auto Auctions over a Ford GT that was sold at auction last year. When you get one of those GTs from Ford, you have to sign an agreement that you will not sell the car for 2 years. And somebody sold one at the auction, and Mecum thought that they could get away with it. In fact, when the guy started selling the car, I was watching. He said, hey, that agreement won't hold up. This is America, after all. Well, it did hold up.
Yeah.
and they got it settled.
So did the guy, the owner of the car, get in trouble, or was it just Mecum that got in trouble for selling?
It was Mecum that actually got in trouble for doing it, and they had to sign an agreement that they wouldn't do it again, and there was some money exchanged hands, although we don't know how much. I suspect it was a pretty hefty sum.
Probably. So he bought the car for $450,000 and then sold it for $1.8 million 1 year later.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was the first one that had ever crossed the auction block.
Yeah.
And so, I figured we'd see a lot more of it after that, but Ford took a really hard stand on this one and said that, hey, the guy that bought the car signed the agreement. You shouldn't have sold it. He shouldn't have sold it, but for whatever reason, the guy that got the money actually came out of this deal okay.
Yeah, which is funny, but I bet nobody else gets that.
No, I bet not. I would imagine it was worth it.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, hey, we always look forward to your being here on a Thursday. What we do want to remind people that you're on 11 to 1 every Saturday here on KFYO.
That's correct.
And you can check out Jerry at carprousa.com.
Guys, stay warm.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Back with more in a moment.